Could everybody check their electronic device, make sure it's either turned off or turned down? And second of all, if anyone plans on speaking on behalf of a petition, if you could sign in at the podium with your name and address before addressing the board. So tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the agenda just slightly out of order. We have a petition here that's in here for other business. It's an administrative review, CB 2006-80, and it's a special permit. The applicant is Marco A. Aribe Sierra. The property is located at 123 3rd Street. And the condition of approval, upon conveyance of the property, the new property owner is to obtain board approval to maintain the approved use of a two-family dwelling. Mr. Sierra, can you come up here, please? How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Just briefly, so this is under other business, so could you just tell the board, my understanding is you purchased the property
Actually, I just bought the house like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
Yes,
Okay.
I understand there was a one-family house a long time ago, so become a multifamily.
Yep.
So we want to keep the same right. I mean,
Okay, so it's going to exist as a multifamily.
Yes.
I just have one question. I went by the property. It's very well maintained. Looks good. When you face the building, there's looks like a side door. Can you tell me what that is?
Is a bedroom. It's part of the first floor, but was a bedroom.
Yeah.
So on the first floor, we have 2 bedrooms. I mean 3, so that's part of the 3 bedrooms.
So that has its own separate entrance?
Yes.
Okay. And both units can access through the front door?
Correct, yes.
Yep. Okay. So Joe, there's nothing that we're into. I was just curious what that side door was. Since we don't have anything else in front of us, I was just curious if it was storage or if it was an actually finished room.
Yeah, there wasn't anything in a review of the file that brought that up as an issue. There hasn't been any recent incidents over at the property.
Okay. Okay. Okay, does any board members have any questions? Okay, hearing none. Joe, does this have to be open to the public?
No.
No, okay. And are we taking any official vote on this?
There should be a vote from the board to confirm it as a two-family dwelling.
Okay. Okay, so if I have no comments from the board, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2006-0080 for a special permit for a two-family at 123 3rd Street.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Bailey?
Approved.
Mr. Callahan?
Approved.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approved.
Mr. Paglio?
Approved.
Mr. Peck?
Approved.
Mr. Perrin?
Approved.
Okay, been approved, sir. Wish you best of luck with the property.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, going back to regular order of business. Our first petition is a continuance. This is ZB 2015-25. The petition's a variance. The applicant is James Hung. The property is located at 2022 Hillside Street, and the petition's a variance to maintain an existing structure without meeting proper setbacks pursuant to Section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Mr. Hang? So, Mr. Hang, you've been here a couple of times now. Is your contractor here?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already have a contract.
No, is his contractor here tonight?
I'm sorry?
His contractor.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
His contractor, the gentleman that's going to do the garage.
He has a paper.
Okay, so We've already had 2 meetings. My understanding was the contractor was going to be here this evening so we could ask some additional questions.
He គាត់មកวันนั้น late
He said that he's coming, but he's coming in later.
I don't
Okay,
know,
so what we'll do is, we're going to move the agenda on, so if you just want to sit back down,
Okay.
and we'll come back to it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to new business. First petition, ZB 2015-27. The petition's a variance. The applicant is Paul R. Tremblay. The property is located at 37 Walker Street. And the petition, it's a variance. The petitioner seeks variance approval to add 2 units without meeting lot area dwelling unit requirements pursuant to section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening, Mr. Tremblay. How are you?
Good evening. Yeah, my name is Paul Tremblay, and my wife Karen, and we own the property. I have some photos here. Could I-
Sure, absolutely. So if you want to just walk us through what your plans are, Mr.
Okay,
Tremblay.
the photo I just gave you is the existing. And what I want to do is take out, I X'd off the 2 garages. They're two-story garages. And I X'd them off. I'd like to remove those, and if you flip the page, and install the 2 units, which takes a little bit more room, but not too much, more than what the garages are, and attach it to the existing 2-family. And what I've done is I've designed it so that the windows are the same. I've got the octagon-shaped windows, and I've kind of hidden the new addition behind the other one, so only a part of it sticks out, yet still meeting the setbacks, okay? And when it's all done, then what we'll do is the roof line will attach right into the other roof line and be all the valleys and taken care of, you know? And we are about retired, and we'll be living on the bottom floor, and then we'll be maintaining the property. You know, it's been in the family for over 75 years, my wife's cousin, and they are now passed. So I'd like to propose that so we could have a nice little retirement thing there, you know?
Okay.
And that's about it.
Okay.
The what?
Mr. Tremblay,
The what? Yeah.
did you get a chance to read through the comments that come back from the
Yes,
city?
they were identical to the ones for the planning board. So if you look at that big print that I gave you,
Yep,
the black one, what I did was, on the second page, this one here has all yellow numbers to answer, and those correspond to the questions. So that way it makes it a lot easier to follow.
okay,
And number 1 is number 1 is actually in 2 parts. It was, I'm seeking a variance for the 2,400 square feet that I'm short. Okay, because you need 16,000 and I have only 13,562. So I'm short 2,474. And, but I have a lot more grass area than required, which is good. And I've completely surrounded the entire project with grass, every square inch. And I met all the planning board's requests. There was 8 of them. And except for one, which is number 6, which is the variance that I'm seeking again tonight. So if you want to go right through them, number 2, I had a parking spot right there, and we removed it and shifted it over so that I could add grass in this area, which I did. And this is my own little drawing, but the certified plan is underneath. And what I did is I kind of lined it, the green lines, so it'll all match my black plan. It's just that it was easier for me to, I didn't want to mark up this plan too much, because it was the certified one. So we moved the parking, and they liked that. And then number 3, there was a question of how to enter the units. And so what I did is I drew in, there's 2 entrances. The original house is on the right, and that's a porch, a farmer's porch you walk into. And then when you open up the hallway, you go up the flight to the first floor, and then you go to the right to go in, the second floor, and then you go to the right to go into the first floor. So I copied that exact thing here. I just made the porch a little smaller because the other porch was a lot of wasted space, so I used it internally for bigger rooms. And so that's how we enter into the units. Now, number 4 is right here. They wanted to know how the grading was going to be. So I went to the city engineer right upstairs over here, and we both agreed that I can run it all off into the backyard. So if you flip back over to the first page, certified plot plan, you'll see how large that yard is. It's quite large. And so the new parking will, and I drew kind of arrows in my black one with red, that it'll all be graded to run off into the back, and there's plenty of room there. And it won't run into anybody's property because it kind of sits, not too much of a bowl, but maybe 6-7 inches lower than the other units. The other abutting land. So it's not too bad. And they have both agreed, no problem. Then I called Bill Brox, who's going to be the hot topper, and showed him this plan, and he looked at it and he says, oh yeah, there's no problem whatsoever, which there isn't. I put in swimming pools my whole life in ground, so I kind of know how to swale things and move things around. And I thought it would be good, but I still check with the engineer first, and then I check with Bill Brox to make sure. So he had no problems with these lines and grading everything off to go that way. So that's answers number 4. Number 5, where are you? I apologize. Number 4 is the 12 feet. I had 18 feet there. I apologize. Number 4, I had 18 feet of concrete, hot top, and they asked me to shrink it down. So I did to the minimum of 12 feet, not 18. Now, number 5 is the swaling. I get it confused there. I apologize. So number 5, down on the bottom left-hand corner on F4 parking, it'll show the grading. Now, number 6 is what I'm seeking the variance for. I'm 9 feet from that corner and not 10. And so that's the variance I'm asking for a foot. Now, I do have a letter to address that, number 6, from the direct abutters, if I may. And they just brought it in to me today, so that was good. And I made some copies. And these here are the 2 owners, Vanna and Bunhorn, Tan. They own the property that I'm going to be abutting. And
So this is, just for the record, this is the people that live directly to your right.
that own,
Not-
directly to the right.
Not the condos in back, but it's a 2-family right next door,
No,
correct?
that's to the left. If you're facing from the front,
Yeah,
yeah, that would be the 3-family or 4-family on the left. And then to the right
Yeah.
is where
are these people, right?
correct, right here.
Yeah.
So it's all this land here. Now, we used to own this, but my wife's aunt gave it to them when they built many years ago.
Yep.
So that's the 9 feet here instead of 10. So that's what I'm seeking a variance for. And they wrote this out for me, and that they had no objections to that whatsoever. So I figured I'd bring that in because that was a pretty important piece of paper. Did you get one, sir? Okay, hold on. I thought I might have skipped you. I thought I skipped you. I went left. So to address that, they had no objection whatsoever. And that takes care of number 6. Now, number 7, I had a 10 by 12 concrete slab patio, and I did not know that you had to be 5 feet from the boundary, and I apologize for that. So I told me about it, so I shrunk it right back down to 6 feet, which gives me the 5 feet that I need for that. And it's on the certified plan. And then I had a big deck up on top. which that was the same thing. I had to be 10 feet away, which I didn't realize. So we shrunk it down with Swati Joseph. I told her all about it, and we were gonna put it on the left side as you're looking at it from the front, but it was interfering. The stairs would have to go backwards, and it just didn't come out right. So instead of a deck, I just am putting the second egress of a 4x4 with the 4-foot stairs going down, which that meets the regulations, so no problem on that.
So the slab, concrete slab is
And
going,
shrunk down to 6 to give me my 5 feet from the boundary. So I meet all the specifications for the boundaries now with these new number 7 and number 8. The only thing I need a variance for is the number 6 for the 1 foot.
so where is this?
And that takes care of the whole page.
Yeah, but is this the bump out we're talking about?
So this is the one that requires variance here.
All right,
So that's in the side yard setback.
all right,
So that's not a requirement, but it's basically,
okay. Okay, sorry about that.
Not a problem.
Okay, so that was number 7, and the proposed, number 8, proposed second floor deck must be at least 10 feet from the property boundary.
Correct. So we got rid of the deck and we just put an egress landing,
Okay.
which is 4x4, she said was no problem.
Okay,
And the reason why I made it 4x4 is I'm using full 3-foot doors on everything. And this new addition, both units are being made what they call living in place with all the new specifications for handicap and so on and so forth. We figure, we're gonna stay there. I don't wanna be remodeling, you never know,
yep.
so.
So, Mr. Tremblay, one of the things you mentioned, of course, I wrote it down somewhere, and I think it relates to, so of those eight items, number 1, they talked about, basically you're short, what was it, 2,400?
Yeah, 2,474
Okay, here it
square
is,
feet.
2474 was on your plans you gave out tonight.
Right.
So you're short 2474 in order to have 4 units as opposed to 3, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, is there any opportunity from your end to
Well,
reduce?
The
What would
problem
happen
is-
if we reduced your plan?
yeah, I would
to
have
F4?
to radically reduce the amount
Yep.
of square footage and I've already got all the blueprints drawn and
Yep.
signed, sealed, and delivered, waiting for these variances, hopefully, and then I can have them recorded, and then I can go to the building department. So it would take out a tremendous amount,
Yep.
and
So how many bedrooms are in the new units?
2 in each one,
2 in each one?
which is
and-
the same with the existing, correct.
Yep. So 2 bedrooms, and what do you have, 1 bath, or what do you have for bathrooms?
No, there's 2 baths. What I did is I put, with the master bedroom, there's a bath and a big walk-in closet.
Yep.
And then you come into the living area, and there's an open kitchen, dining room with a washer and dryer room and a small bathroom there.
Yep.
And then there's like the second bedroom, which I call my office, which will be mine, but it's the second bedroom and then the living room.
Okay, so how many rooms in each of the new units?
Each of the new, let's see, there's the living room, office, that's 1, 2, dining room, that's 3, and then the bedroom is 4. And then the kitchen is 5, right? Well, yeah, but you gotta count kitchen separately, Karen. You get kitchen, dining, that's 2 separate rooms, right?
No,
Yeah, it's all open.
we don't have an actual plan in front of us of the
Oh, yeah, right.
interior, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking you the question.
Yeah, I didn't realize you needed a floor plan otherwise, and I don't know if I can draw it on that real
No,
quick.
I won't ask for it right now. So five rooms, 2 baths,
Correct.
yeah.
And I don't feel that I'm asking for a tremendous amount. I really don't. I mean, if I was asking for 20,000 square feet, that'd be out of line. But, I'm keeping up with most of the neighbors in the neighborhood. I mean, I've been checking all around, and I have one of the largest lots in the whole area, the surrounding area, really. And with all the green grass that I've got, I mean, it just come out beautiful, you know?
Yep.
And I completely surrounded it, so where I'm gonna be living there too, they'll be maintained and kept properly. Plus, I'm gonna be the general contractor. I have my own contractor's license. I'll be subbing everything out, but I'll be making sure that it's all built to my specs, you know?
Okay, so as far as parking, you've shown it on the plan, you got 8 parking spots, so it'll be 2 per unit, correct?
Correct. And then there's that nice big area, the 12-foot area, which was 18, but I cut it down. And the reason for that is, as you can see, as you enter in, the plow can just come and, all the cars are gonna be parked. So in the winter, he can just plow that snow right over into the grass and get rid of it, and then clean out in front of the existing, and then all the cars can back out, take off the snow, and then he can come back and clean that area.
Yep.
Which is what we've been doing this year, practicing for this plan here.
Right,
It's
right.
worked out really well, you know?
Yeah, well, you seem to have it, at least the way it's set up, that you could.
Oh, yeah, I tried to
you could
design it
push
so it was really
Yep.
nice, you know? And it's gonna be built the same. I like that octagon in the living room. It really opens it up nice, and that's where we set the TV, so it kind of pushes it out, you know?
And we received 2 comments from city departments, one being traffic, and there was no issue around traffic.
Correct.
The other one was from Gunther Wellenstein, and he mentioned, so you'll have rollouts, you'll be using the regular city services for your
Oh, yeah,
trash and
yeah, there's plenty of
recycling.
room.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room.
Okay, anything else you want to add at this point?
No, I don't. I just hope it gets approved. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so what we're going to do next is I'm going to open it up to the public, and then we'll entertain the board. All right,
Yeah.
sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone here that'd like to speak in opposition? Opposition, opposition. And while we're talking about the public meeting, and so for the record, Mr. Tremblay delivered to us, I'll just read into the record, we, Banthan, Tan, and Vana Tan, owners of 29 to 33 Walker Street and direct abutters of 37 Walker Street, have no objection for Mr. and Mrs. Tremblay to build their new addition at 9 feet instead of 10 from the corner of the 15 by 50 jog into their land, and is signed by each of the neighbors, so we'll have that into the record also. Okay, with no public meeting is closed, I'd like to open it up to the board. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Tremblay, for going through the latest plan to kind of explain, to answer a lot of the
Yeah, it's easier.
questions that I would have had. I feel like you addressed all the planning department's questions.
Oh, yeah.
Except for one, I guess, if you could just explain again, because you're adding so much new pavement for the parking spaces on the side, you did just mention about the room for the extra pavement for the plow. Does it need to be the whole length of the new addition? Is that to
Yeah,
keep
because
it
in the
out from
front of the new addition, I want to get the snow out of there so the cars can back up and make turnarounds and go out.
Okay.
know what I
Do
mean?
they
And I-
need that? It looks like it's almost a double the length of 2 parking spaces. So does it need to be that long, or?
Yeah, because what I did is I cut it off at the end of the unit rather than just cut it off a little bit. Plus, that'll give, if people have guests and stuff, they can park in front of the units. You know what I'm saying? Even though they're not gonna be lined, I mean, extra cars do come in, you know? And I have parking for 2 units, 2 vehicles for each unit, which is no problem. But sometimes they have a party, so it's easier to park the cars over there.
Okay,
You know.
all right. A question for Joe, would that be technically a legal use of that space, if, to have cars parked literally right outside the front door of the addition, or?
Well, it won't be right outside because it's 12 feet. Cars are only 8 feet wide, you know, so if
Right.
they hug on one side, it gives you plenty of passageway, you know.
Sure, I mean, a car could park out there. There is adequate space from the porch entrance area away from where cars would be parked over there. There would be enough room.
Oh, and also, if you look in the front, there's also 5 feet of grass that I put in front too, so including that 12. You know what I mean, saying? So the cars are gonna be quite a bit away.
And
it's-
you'll be living there, so you'll make
Oh,
sure
yeah.
no one parks on the
Yeah.
grass.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Van?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, thank you, Mr. Tremblay, for all your comments. And by going through each one of the kind of different comments the city had about your petition, I think, in my opinion, adding the 2 units, you don't meet the square footage of the lot, but I think it's always a good thing when you can get your neighbors and the butters behind your project. And, I see it as kind of a new upgrade or addition to the whole neighborhood. And like you said, that your house is really well-maintained, and it's one of the bigger lots in the area. So in my opinion, I think this could be granted. So I have no objections, and I wish you the best of luck.
Okay, thank you, Van. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask Joe a question about the zoning for this lot. It's certainly quite a mixed bag over there. You've got a lot of smaller, single families that seem to be on postage stamp lots.
Yeah.
And then you've got a collection of these larger houses right adjacent to it on these larger lots. So it's kind of an odd situation. And then some of them have more than, I think, more than the unit would allow for 4,000 square feet per. So, what are we trying to do with the zoning here? Is there a plan? I mean, it just seems rather odd that he would be stuck with the 4,000 square foot requirement where so many of his neighbors don't have that issue.
Yeah, I can't really speak as to why this area was included in the TMF, back in 2004 when the comprehensive zoning change was done throughout the city. Generally, zoning was there to try to match what was existing in the neighborhood. As you mentioned, this area seems to be kind of a hodgepodge, so it was
Exactly.
probably pretty difficult to try to figure out how to designate it as a zoning district over here. I would guess, given the presence of a number of multifamilies, they try to get the zoning districts we were considering as close to that as possible to render as many properties as they could as conforming. A lot of the smaller singles may have enough lot area for a single family in a TMF, but maybe some of the multis don't quite have enough.
It just seems like there's maybe a cluster of 6 or 8 of these lots that have this condition, and then right adjacent to it, they're extremely different,
Yeah, if I may add to that, my 2,400 square feet is one of the smallest variances that would be granted. Most of them are anywhere from 5, 6, 7,000, all the way to 20,000 short, which is considerable. So that's why when I said I felt I wasn't asking for a tremendous amount, and I was serious.
No, I'm just trying to understand the criteria for the variance application and looking at hardship or something about the lot as having, being able to meet that criteria, but
Yeah, that's,
that aside,
the only thing I'm short on is that darn thing because I have more than enough grass and green space and everything else, 'cause
Oh, you
it's a
do?
nice lot, oh, yeah,
no, it looks like you could fit more.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I know, it looks like it should be
Right.
more, but it isn't,
I
unfortunately.
understand.
I had it all surveyed and everything, and it is what it is.
No, you've done a nice job laying it out.
Yeah, I try to keep as much grass as I could, and I even put it in the front of the new addition and everything,
Item number 2, though,
Two.
you,
Yes.
this revised plan with the numbers on it that you gave us,
Yeah, the first one had the parking all the way to the street,
oh,
and they asked me to shift it in. So if, no, that's the new. Before, there was a parking spot right here.
okay, so the comments that we have
Yeah.
state that they're looking for the parking area to be in line with the front of the existing building, which
Yes,
would
which-
shift it all the way back to
Yeah, but
here.
it would have shifted it too far there and made this a little more difficult. I had 18 feet.
I agree with you. I don't see, I mean, you'd basically have to take that space and count this one back here
Yeah,
and
well, we
instead
didn't
of it.
have to because I had enough in here and I rounded
All right.
this off, so this one's gonna be an easy.
So what do we have for a dimension here? Do we
This
know?
is 9, yeah, it's 9 feet by.
Okay.
It's marked at 234
So that's
square feet of
sufficient for
grass.
landscaping.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
9 feet, okay.
And he
Great.
drew it right in too in the front right here.
And then, my last question is, you might want to go back to the podium so everyone can hear you speak. That's all right. The concrete patio, or was that a patio area for the first floor unit?
No, that's
or-
for me in the first floor.
What is that used for, that concrete
I'm
area?
just gonna put my grill out there and
Okay.
a couple of chairs and stuff like that. So I had a 10 by 12, but they said I had to be 5 feet. So I didn't know, you know? So I just shrunk it down to 6, that's all.
So 6 feet's enough?
Yeah,
okay.
so it gives me the 5. I'll probably make it 5.5 to give me 5.5, just so I'm safe, you know?
So, I was just wondering how we reference the changes that were made, because the plan, Joe, do we have a revised plan being submitted that incorporate these minor modifications like the,
Yes, the one that's
Deck.
underneath, sir. That's the official revised certified plan.
okay, so we can reference that as the revised plan?
Correct.
Okay,
I just threw mine in underneath to mark it all up to easier to understand.
very good. It looks like a great project, and the units sound like they'll be a spectacular addition. You really,
I think so.
they sound outstanding. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you, Dennis. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple, just one comment. I was concerned about the amount of pavement, new pavement, but I did notice you had that green space over there.
Right.
And then the realignment of the parking really kind of
Yeah, that
solidifies.
helps. And
kinda
I could see,
solidifies
you know,
what
you
we're
draw it out, sometimes you don't realize.
Yeah, sometimes you have to look at things
Oh,
from
yeah,
10,000
yeah.
feet,
And they
so.
suggested, and as soon as I moved it, it looked good, you know, so I said, oh, no problem.
So, I think overall, it's a great plan, and
Yeah.
certainly you've been in the city for 75 years, staying in the city, and
Oh, yeah.
building an addition, and what
Yeah.
I presume is your retirement.
Oh, yeah, that's our retirement
so,
home. Yeah,
no,
that's
you
why
did-
we want to stay
I
there.
appreciate the detailed plans and the way you outlined it
Great,
tonight.
thank
I
you,
wish you the best of luck.
thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you, Mr. Tremblay, for providing the detailed plans of breaking down, going comment by comment as to the city's concerns. And I think it's now seeing how you've broken it all down, it seems to be wavering some of the concerns that I've had. But now it seems to me that things are you
Beautiful.
get things pretty in order, and it looks like it would be a great addition. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
wish you the
Thank
best
you,
of luck.
sir.
Thank you, Sean. So I have a couple more questions, Mr. Tremblay. If we go back to the 8
yes,
comments
the-
were made by the city. Number 3, talks about the elevation.
Well, what
Can
they
you,
were talking,
just give me a minute.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Can you tell me, it talks about, the units have separate entrance doors with a shared farmer's porch.
right.
Can you just run through again what you're planning on doing?
Yes, what they did is, they didn't realize that, how to get into the units. So that's why I drew it into my plan in the back on the black one. And I copied the one that we live in now. So the one we live in now has a porch. You open up the door to the porch, and then you open the door to the hallway, and you're looking up the stairs for the second floor, and then we turn right to go into our unit on the first floor. So that's the common hallway there. So what I did is I copied that exact blueprint on the other one, because it was a nice space saver, because from the back, the stairs go down into the cellar, and it worked out perfect. So the carrying walls are gonna start right from the cellar floor all the way straight up to the attic, which is beautiful. So I copied the same thing on my new addition, and I bumped that out 2 feet to kind of give it a little breakup, if you know what I'm saying. And then with the octagon window in the dining room, living room, I apologize, it matches the rest of the house, and I'll be doing that on both floors. So on the new addition, that porch, you open up the door the same way, then you open up the hallway, and you're looking up to the second floor, and then you turn right to go into my unit in the first floor.
Okay.
And then the second egress is, mine is out the back, and so is the second floor out the other stairs going down.
Okay. No, I know you explained it, but when I was listening,
Oh, I see what you-
kind of,
yeah, sure.
I just wanted to revisit
Yeah.
that.
Once
Joe.
I drew it in, the planning board understood what it was,
Yep.
and they,
Joe, can I ask you just quickly on number 5 about the the stormwater management. So is Mr. Tremblay going to be submitting something to the city engineer? Is that,
There should be something submitted to the city engineer for her to review and approve based on the project.
okay. Did you hear my question?
Yes,
Yep.
and I didn't hear his answer, though.
Yeah, that's okay.
I apologize.
No, what I had asked was on number 5, if you're going to be responsible for submitting something to the city engineer and the stormwater, and the answer was yes, so that would be,
Actually, the answer is no.
The answer is
The
no.
city engineers, I'm sorry, Joe, but the city engineers agreed with me that I don't have to because it's under 6 units and it's not commercial. And they agreed with me and myself and Mr. Bill Brox that the way we have it swaled and going into the back, it's perfectly fine with them. And Swati, when I came back downstairs, I told Swati, and Swati called upstairs, and they both hashed it out. I did it that day when she told me,
okay.
you know.
So I guess I'm not going to condition it, but if that needs to be met, then I'm sure
Oh, sure.
somebody, I'm sure
Oh,
somebody from the
I
city will
won't-
be
I
visiting
won't
you.
dance around it, believe me.
Okay, no, that's okay. I just,
Yeah.
you know, I gotta play the bad guy, you know, I have to. Okay, so the planning, you went to the planning board. Joe, were there any conditions that he had from planning board?
No.
No, okay. And as far as the landscaping, I know you talked about the green space. Are you doing any, I know we didn't get a landscape plan. I don't know if you gave anything to the planning board. You putting any new shrubbery or any trees or anything in?
No, there hasn't been trees or anything in that. The planning, one of the members of the planning board that sat over there asked me
Yeah,
that.
probably
And
Mr.
I
Boyle.
told him I wasn't gonna plant any. It's, they're too hard to maintain, and what happens, they grow up so big, and then the first thing you know, you've gotta cut them down anyways. So I figured with the green grass in the front and just keep it simple, you know, my wife can plant little tulips and flowers, and that's about it, you know, to dress it up. And it's been like that for forever.
Okay,
So it'll look good. She has, on the other side, she has rose bushes that up against my fence and everything. We let them grow, and it kind of adds some color, you know.
okay.
They do have a big row of trees in the back of the property that faces the big parking lot there, so,
Yep.
and those are not coming down.
Okay. So one of the things I mentioned, we don't have the, I'll call it the interior plans of the number of rooms and what they're going to look like.
I didn't know you needed that, otherwise I would have definitely submitted a floor plan. Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
I'm gonna have that as a condition, because obviously, what you say you're going to do and what you end up doing, sometimes
yeah.
for some people are two different things.
Well, you know,
so
I might even have a floor plan here if you, no?
If,
Want
well,
to give them to Joe?
yeah, I'm just gonna condition that they
He'll be there
get a
tomorrow morning.
copy of that. That's fine.
I didn't realize that because that was part of the planning, I mean, the,
Yep.
for the building department.
Is the exterior going to be the same as what
Oh,
you
yes,
currently
yeah.
have?
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save all the siding that I can off the 2 units, because they kind of match, and I'll use that on the front part of mine, which will be all the same color. And then if it's a slight mismatch, we'll use it on the back and then across the,
Okay.
just,
And this is the plan we're going to reference. right?
that was recently cited probably 10 years ago or so.
Okay, so the elevation sheet, this one here, okay.
And also, the existing unit, the existing two-family has a brand spanking new roof, the chimneys have all been redone, and I had Mass Save come in the first of this year, in January of last year, I apologize, of 14, and completely insulated the whole thing. Attic, new ridge vent, all new soffit vents, and I insulated between the floors extra and the cellar and all the exterior walls. Brand new boilers, brand new hot water tanks for boat units.
Yep, okay.
You know.
So the other condition is, and I know Dennis hit on it, we're going to take this into the record, the August 3rd
Oh, yes,
plans
that's the
here.
registered, yeah, that's the certified plan.
And we're also taking the elevation sheet that you gave us this evening, that'll go into the record also.
Good.
Okay. All right, so that's my comments. I think at the end of the day, if we look at the project, it's a nice project, you know, to Dennis's point, I think if you look at the area, it is kind of, I'm not gonna use cookie cutter, but
No, I know.
there is a lot of different type of
Yeah.
structures. and I know you went to planning board, and they went through their host of issues, but as far as granting, you know, obviously the shortage for the unit is the big item as far as this board goes, and I think Dennis hit on a couple of things as far as what you're being required to be asked for, and the section in 11.2.3 on the prerequisites for the variance, I think in your case, you know, the literal enforcement of the provisions of the zoning ordinance would involve substantial hardship to you based on your plans and what you're planning to do. So I believe, you know, for this board, that would cover, you're actually incurring a hardship to try to put in this fourth unit. It's not that you don't have really the amount of space there. You obviously do, and you've put a pretty good plan together. And also, if we grant it, you know, there's a section on the public good. I don't think the desirable relief granted would cause any substantial detriment to the area. And the other section on intent of zoning, I don't see this derogating, you know, from the intent of the zoning. So as far as I'm concerned, I in full support of this. I have two conditions, and if any of the board members have anything else, I'll just, again, it'll be the acceptance of the August 3rd and whatever the date of, and the elevation plan that was submitted this evening. And the second document would be that you present to DPD, I'll call it the interior design plan.
Sure, your floor plan.
Any other comments?
Is the floor plan sufficient, sir? So you can see, not the, a three-dimensional, you mean? Yeah, the floor plan, yeah, okay. Because I do have them, and I do have some here.
No, I just,
Okay. They'll be in the
again,
office
we want to make
tomorrow
sure
morning.
what you say you're going to do
Well, don't you worry,
is what you end up doing.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't worry, I sleep well at night.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other conditions, comments from any of the board members? If not, could I have a motion, please?
Mr. Bailey, could I
Yes, sir.
interject for a minute? One condition that should be on this approval, since that seems like the direction the board is going, is that the stairs for the additional 2 units, that they go towards the rear of the property. That was something that the building commissioner just briefly reviewing, so the stairs should be going towards the rear of the property. Looks like they may or may not do that now, but it's a little hard to tell from the plan.
Okay, so,
Sorry, I didn't hear all of that.
yeah,
But the stairs go to empty into the rear of the property.
so on his, on the plan from August 3rd. Yeah. So these proposed stairs, yeah.
Just a little too narrow heading up towards the street side of the property.
Yep.
Excuse me, a little too narrow heading towards the street side of the property. 2 foot, it looks like it's about 2 foot in width to use as an emergency means of egress. So,
And they do point to the rear of the property as they,
and they do? Okay, I couldn't tell.
right, the landing turns.
Oh, yeah, I turned them the other way. I didn't want to go. And that, actually, you can go by there too, because it's all concrete on that 2-foot section.
Okay.
Still too narrow for egress.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But the other way is much
Yep,
larger.
After that, yeah. Okay. Anything else? Okay, hearing none, have a motion, please.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2015-027 for 2 variances for 37 Walker Street, a variance for reduction in the lot area per dwelling unit, and a reduction in the side yard setback, with the following conditions: that the site plan submitted tonight, dated August 3rd, be part of the, conditioned as part of the submission, as well as the elevation submitted tonight, and that site plan show the second means of egress, egressing to the rear of the site. And the second condition is that the floor plans be submitted to DPD for review.
Okay, could I have a second?
Second the motion.
Roll call?
Mr. Bailey?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Paglia?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Peck?
Approve the conditions.
Mr. Perrin?
Approve with conditions.
Okay, Mr. Trombley.
Thank you very much.
Mr. and Mrs. Trombley.
Really appreciate it.
Wish you the best of luck.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Good luck.
Good night. Thanks again.
Okay, so we're going to go back to our first petition. Looks like, is this, you have a contractor here? Okay. All right, so we'll read it back in. Under continuances, ZB 2015-25, petitions of variance. Applicant is James Hang. Property is located at 2022 Hillside, and the petition is a variance to maintain an existing structure without meeting proper setbacks pursuant to section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening, sir. How are you? So earlier I had addressed that the Mr. Hang's been here 2 times previously, and it's my understanding you've been working with him and the city to figure out a plan going forward with the existing carport. Could you run through what the plan is going forward?
Okay.
Yep.
About a week and a half ago, he.
Can you just introduce who you are, please?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
That's
My
okay.
name is Chad. I'm a general contractor.
Okay,
Yeah, I've been working in this city since '92.
okay. Yep.
Okay. So
Thank you.
last week and a half, he called me. So I went to the job site, look at the garage, basically a carport to start with, but he ended up and have 2 doors. Now it's a garage. So by definition of a carport, you have to have an open, mostly or like at least 2 sides. But now he can close 2 sides. Now it become a car garage. So the code has to change. So for him to keep that carport as a car garage, I have to do a few requirements. So to keep that, first thing I have to change the slab. Whatever he have now is a asphalt that he sit it on. So I have to change that to a 4-inch, at least 4-inch thick concrete for entire floor. And number 2, I need to wire at least 1 smoke detector from in that car garage, and 2, the common area of the building plus onto each of the unit. So if somebody fix a car or maybe a car got on fire, somebody in house can know, because he attached it right onto the house. And the number 2, I will install a 1-hour fire-rated wall for the entire interior. One thing to protect the building that he's in, and another one to protect the adjacent building because he have less than 5 feet from the property line. That's what I plan. And another thing, I looked at it when I was there, and I saw the main power that run from the street, so right on through the carport. So that I have to take that to attention to. So we have to have the permit to install a conduit so to protect the main wire, so the car garage structure won't heat it, because right now it's heat right on it, and it's basically it's metal. So that thing I have to fix it. So those are the things that I'm going to fix, and we'll bring the garage to a standard code.
Okay. If I remember right, was there something about the living quarters and the window? I don't know if this gentleman addressed that, but wasn't there some kind of comment about?
I can answer that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I think this week, about a few days ago, I went back and re-inspect the whole interior of the first floor. So that's comment on the comment on number 5 sent by the meeting last time that I wasn't here.
Sure.
So the board concerning about the window that he blocked. That window was used as a dining room It's not used as a sleeping room at all, because that room have a two door that one walk right to the kitchen and walk right to the living room. So it's not it's not used as a bedroom.
Okay. The plans that you have, did you submit anything to anybody from the city, or do you have any extra copies, or?
I did not supply, I did not put any submission, but I did spoke with the engineer, Chris, about this problem.
You spoke to who?
Christopher.
Christopher?
Sean is a city engineer. His name's Christopher, right, Sean?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that would be Christopher McWhite, the plans examiner for the city of Lowell.
Okay. Do you have any familiarization of what
I
they
have,
talked
other
about?
than what I have in front of me today, I have no other knowledge of what Chris has spoken to him about.
Okay.
To be honest, I did not spoke with Sean, but I went through Chris to run through with the code, because he usually review all the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, to run through with him to see if possible to help him and keep the car garage as a car garage.
So are you, I'll say it this way, you suggesting by the changes that you've just discussed with us, that the carport would stay the way it is right now? And based on these mitigation plans or action plans or building code regulations, you're proposing that the existing structure, the carport, would become a garage?
Yeah, because to me,
Yep.
when I went to review, like I said earlier, it used to be a carport. And he have a minimum of open side had to be 2 at least before he had that. But soon he installed a door, now cannot be used as a carport. It become a car garage. So when it become a car garage, the code is all going to change. So for him to keep that carport as a car garage, he has to do all the 4 things that I just said earlier, if he want to. But that has to be approved by the city too.
Yep.
But I did run through Chris about that,
Yep.
about that matter, before I give him an estimate how much would be cost to fix it.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess the first thing I'm going to ask of the city is, sounds like, I guess maybe to you, Bill, Mr. Commissioner, you haven't seen anything, I'll call it in writing, anything submitted based on what this gentleman has told us this evening, correct?
Again, I have not seen anything submitted or overheard any discussions. Part of my concern would be that the carport itself, without the doors, was never permitted in the first place. So that's not something that we would have allowed to exist to begin with. And it's simply to do with separation, separation from the building envelope into the adjoining occupancies. We also have hazardous locations of windows within 6 feet of the garage. And you would need to look at a 20-minute rated door for the door that's in the entrance there to the building. All that is, you could probably accomplish, but some of the things that we're not thinking about is carbon monoxide. The drainage of any spilt fuels that could accumulate on a floor, concrete, or whatever. There's no drainage system allowed, at least I heard it proposed to put into place. And that it's also closer to the property line and the other building than we would normally allow on their own property. So we're putting 2 homes at risk here, not just one.
Well, and that's one of the, if I remember, one of the issues was the location of the carport structure as it relates to a variance, the closeness to the property to the left as you're looking at the property. So that's something I was already thinking about, how we were going to address that. But I guess the first thing is I haven't really, in this case, because the gentleman's come in with a new plan, I mean, we don't have anything in front of us. He ran through it this evening. The city hasn't looked at it and based their opinions. Is there any other actions or plans that you have, or is that pretty much it that you?
I think for now, that pretty much it that as far as I know.
Yeah.
As far as I know about this problem. But like I mentioned earlier, I never run through I never put a plan into action yet on the city building department yet.
Yep.
But I did just run through a few person like Chris and Joe, just to get some idea. Because I need to give some idea to him so he'll be able to understand which way he should go, either remove the entire the structure. If he like to keep it, he have to comply to at least a minimum standard code.
Yep.
So to me, I found that is the problem that maybe can solve, but that depends on the approval of the building inspector or building department.
Yep. Okay. Well, like I said before, this is our third meeting, and I understand what happened with the first two meetings. I mean, I don't object to, if there's some, can you put something in writing, which you just explained to us, and submit it to Mr. Shanahan's office? Then we can let the building commissioner and his team take a look at it and give us some feedback. And then, because Mr. Shanahan's correct, there are going to be some other issues with that structure, never mind
100%.
it.
Yeah.
Some of the other things we've talked about. We're going to be back to square one as far as variances, and
I can see that.
and I know that's not why you're here this evening, so.
That's okay, but Sean, I need maybe like 2 weeks before I submit anything to you.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, I think it would not be a bad idea for you also to maybe just come in, sit with Mr. McWhite and myself.
No problem.
To get, some of the issues we're looking at is we're supporting, we're attaching to a house that's supporting other levels. So, we're not looking at simply just putting a 1-hour fire rating around what your structure is now.
Understood.
We need to protect the entire building and also the building next door. So come in, sit down, we'll sit at the table and put something together that you can go to an architect or a design professional with.
No problem. Yeah.
So if this gentleman's going to need a couple of weeks, I'm looking at September 28th, that'd be a couple of meetings out. If he's able to submit it in a couple of weeks, would that give your office enough time? I'd like, to see any of the responses the city has, at least before our meeting on the 28th. Do you see that as a possibility?
Yeah, if he submits something to our office, Chris and I can
Yep.
take a look at it in short order.
Okay. Anybody on the board have any comments?
I have a quick question, Mr.
Sure,
Chairman.
go ahead.
I know it was mentioned in passing the sealing off of the windows. It sounds to me like that's a requirement, whether those rooms are used as bedrooms or not. So even though it's been explained that the floor plan of the home is such that that's a dining area, those would still need to be sealed off. Is that correct?
There are windows that could be purchased that would certainly defeat any cost-effective program that would be looking at on this house. But in most scenarios, they would need to be closed off. As well as if the windows above are within 6 feet from the ceiling, we could potentially be looking at those being too close as well.
Okay. I think, not to put any blame on anyone in this situation, but it sounds like we might finally get everyone in the same room at the same time. It seems like part of the problem has been that Mr. Hang, went to planning on his own and then to another department on his own, and now the contractor is here trying to address the concerns, but now you've mentioned a couple of other things about, oil and drainage and things. So I think for Mr. Heng's case, I hope we can finally get everyone in the room at the same time maybe, and because things have been addressed one or two at a time, and we've had to ask him to come back. So I appreciate you being here today and offering to get both yourself and the engineering office in the room at the same time with Mr. Heng.
And I agree with what you're saying. I believe this, and I'm not positive, but I believe this was, all the origination of it became from installing something without the benefit of a building permit. So when that's done, naturally, there are steps that are skipped and conversations that aren't had because we didn't get a building permit. That would have been handled in the very beginning with initial conversation with Joe or myself. And that's why it's important to take the right steps at the beginning.
No further questions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, Mike. Dennis?
Since we're now looking at a sizable investment in the structure to be upgraded, I think your original investment was in the $5,000 range, if I remember right. And then you added doors to it, and so it's gotten, but I'm uncomfortable with putting all this money and still being left with a structure that's up against the property line of the neighbor. I think we are setting a bad precedent. Speaking personally, I think that 5 feet is a minimum that I could feel comfortable with. And if we're modifying the structure, I think we should be modifying the setback there. The other dimension that I'm not comfortable with is setting a garage, new construction, less than a car distance from the street. I think the requirement, Joe, is 24 feet setback for a garage, if that's, and we're looking at 11 foot 8 inches, which is, to me, unreasonable. If we're going to be putting a big investment in fixing this, I think we should be looking at those 2 dimensions and improving them. My personal preference would see at least an 18-foot dimension from a garage to the street for one car to be able to park in front of the garage. But I think if we're going to be looking at a big investment here, we should be improving those 2 things.
Okay, so question for you. So you, in the front setback, you're looking at least 18 feet, you say?
I'm only speaking for myself on the board, but in granting the variance, I can't see myself voting in favor of 11 foot 8, and so
Okay,
I
but
would be
you're
looking at
for
something
at least
better than,
18 feet, right?
I would say yes.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you're looking at fixing this. And thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna, as soon as I'm done here, I'm gonna walk him through slowly, explain him everything.
Sure.
I did mention to him earlier too, before I come to the meeting tonight, about the minimum setback, because adjacent property very close. You know?
Absolutely right.
It doesn't matter if we try to put a 1 hour, the
Yep.
protection wall, but you only do to the wall, but not the door. You see where I'm coming, you know?
Do, yep.
So I tell him, if you want to keep the structure, you have to keep a minimum you could, but not, right now, it's really oversized to me. Yeah, so, but I'm gonna work with him.
Good.
And I work with the engineer, Sean, and then as soon as I get that, I'm gonna run through Sean and Chris to get to the next step.
Thank you.
So anybody have any more questions, please
That's all I
ask.
had.
Anybody else?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to echo the same sentiments as Mr. McCarthy. Going on our 3rd continuance, and I'm grateful you're here tonight
Thank you.
to explain and understand. I think there are a few things that came into play at the beginning. Number 1 is not accessing a permit, and my disdain with these carports and these vendors coming into our city and constantly putting these items attached, abutting, dimensional square lots that don't meet requirements. So I'm comfortable that you're here to help him through this process. I do have concerns with the structure itself remaining. I think you should look at a plan for a 1-car garage within that dimension that meets some type of, agreeable standard with the board that we can move forward and either put this in approval or allow Mr. Hank to move on with his life. The financial burden that he's already been subjected to with the initial loss and now coming into play. So I want to make my appreciation to the city departments and the building commissioner coming in here today, and the various departments have been working with Mr. Hang, trying to get this mediated and moved forward. But I think it has to be done correctly. I think the lot size is concerning. I have got concerns about exterior windows. I've got concerns about height to second floor windows. I definitely have concerns about carbon monoxide and spillage within the garage. So if you could really do your homework coming back to the board, I think it's in everyone's best interest to try to come up with a common ground here so we can move on. So appreciate everyone coming tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, but like I explained to you, because the problem brought into Mr. Heng is not by him, it's by the vendor.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I agree 100%, and I've already made
You know what I mean? Like,
on record that
he should be a
that
little more
displeasure.
honest to him, say,
Oh.
you know, if you buy this side, you
Right?
should check his lot first, and check the city, you know what I mean, the building department,
Oh,
to
I-
make sure he can install a carport. But the structure was done, and
No, I agree.
called me, asked me for how when I go there. It's too surprised for me, because like Sean, I mentioned, one is attached to the house. And the structure load, you know it's gonna be a snow load. You have to calculate the snow load to do a footing to support that roof. And another thing, you have to look all the side of the beam they install, how much load the snow can take, you know, for this area. They never look on that.
No, I
at all,
agree.
you know
He
what I
was
mean? They
he was
just
dealt
go
a
boom,
bad
boom,
hand.
boom, run away, and now he's the one who got on the top of.
Exactly.
And I'm here, I start trying to help him what I could, that's all.
No, I agree. He was dealt a bad hand. He wasn't given enough information. I think between DPD and the building commissioner and the engineers department and everybody involved, including the board members, everyone's trying to come up with a happy medium here. It's also comforting to me with some of the knowledge you're bringing and understanding of what we're looking for. I think you're going to be able to put down a nice little plan for Mr. Huang and explain it to him so that he's understanding, where he is going from here. So, no, believe me, I've already expressed my concern with the original problem and process that happened at the beginning with the carport vendor coming into the city of Lowell. And once again, in my opinion, taking advantage of our citizens, which isn't something I'm happy with. So, no, I appreciate your time, and I feel more comfortable that you're here tonight to be able to put this better plan in with the help of the city departments and the building commission engineers. I'm hopeful we can come to a happy medium on that dimension, but you've got your homework to do, so I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah. So I appreciate to everybody for coming tonight and let me speak, because from now I'm going to help him see what can I do, which way that we're going to go from here.
Okay, any other comments? If not, I'd like to have a motion for a continuance to September 28th.
Through Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2015-025 for a variance to be continued to September 28th.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Continue to September 28th.
Mr. McCarthy?
Continued to September 28th.
Mr. Paglio?
Continue to September 28th.
Mr. Peck?
Continue.
Mr. Perrin?
Continue to September 28th.
Okay, sir. So hopefully you'll, in the next couple of weeks, get some plans over to the city, and they'll have time to review it. And hopefully on the 28th, this will be the last time that this board's going to, I guess, entertain this. But, I'll echo what the other board members said. I think, hopefully with your guidance, we can get somewhere.
Thank you, and have a good
Okay,
night.
thank you. Have a good evening. Okay, our next order of business is ZB 2015-28, petitions a special permit, and the applicant is Lincoln Zaletet, and property is located at 6365 Puffer Street, and the petition's variance to maintain the conversion of a deck to a porch and install a new carport without meeting dimensional requirements pursuant to section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Is the petitioner here? Puffer Street. No?
I don't see the petitioner here, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so you didn't hear
I didn't-
anything from the petitioner, Joe?
No, I didn't receive any communication that they would be looking to continue or had any scheduling conflict.
Okay, so what's the wish of the board? we can either continue it next meeting, or we can push it out. I make a recommendation, we push it to the 28th, because I think on the same night, we're gonna have some other petitions going on that might be of value. So any other comments? We move it to the 28th September? Hearing none, could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2015-028 for a variance at 6365 Puffer Street to be continued to September 28th.
Second?
Second the motion.
Roll call?
Mr. Bailey?
Continue to September 28th.
Mr. McCarthy?
Continue to September 28th.
Mr. Paglia?
Continue to September 28th.
Mr. Peck?
Continue.
Mr. Perrin?
Continue September 28th.
Okay, next petition is ZB 2015-30. It's a special permit. The applicant is Tiago Compost. Property is located at 1527 Middlesex Street. And petition special permit to operate a body art establishment pursuant to Article 12 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good, how are you? Good
Very
evening.
good. So what would you like to tell us about your business?
I've been working 2 years, 2 jobs just to do this. I've lived in Lowell for 10 years, so I thought, now I work in Salem, New Hampshire, but I just feel like it's time for me to open my own business, and I thought Lowell would be the best spot. Since I've lived here forever, I went to high school right down here at Lowell High, so do you need to know anything about what's my goals in it? And
Well, I guess I'll ask a couple of questions up front. Have you been before the Board of Health? Have you seen anybody at the Health Department yet?
yes, I have. I've spoken to them, and they said I had to come here and ask for a special permit first, and then eventually go over there and apply for the licensing and all that other stuff. But
Okay. How did you pick the location that you're?
well, first I tried to stay within the lines that the zoning board, allows me. And my sister's salon, hair salon, is where my wife works as well. Is basically 3 doors down from where I'm going to be opening. And I'm in the corner. I also have an exit door, and I have more than enough space for a good price, because I know the owner of the property. And
Okay. Besides yourself, how many other full-time employees will there be?
I will have 2 more chairs.
Yep.
It would just me and 2 more guys working. I don't have anybody yet, but
Okay.
I will eventually put applications out for people to
Yep.
apply in.
Okay. I know in the write-up that came from the city that talked about signage. Can you tell us what your plan is for doing advertising, any signage?
Basically, I'm just gonna follow the same design that all the other businesses have, and have just one sign on the top in the corner, because I'm in the corner anyway, so I feel like people can't really see me from the street. So I'll just make sure that my clients, when they do come in the plaza, they can, they can go and see me in the corner. And also, there's also a panel in front. And I'm just gonna write, the shop's name and tattoo, just make it simple, not too big. It's mostly an appointment type business anyways, especially because I'm pretty busy. So as long as they can find my tattoo shop, that should be enough.
What's your proposed hours of operation?
I'll be open from 12 to 8, about 6 days a week, maybe on Sundays as appointment only special.
Have you signed anything yet with the landlord?
Yes, I have.
Yep.
I have signed the lease, and just waiting for this so I can go through all the other processes.
Joe, does the city need to see anything on any lease arrangement or any paperwork regarding that?
Eventually, once a change of use permit will be filed, we'll need something that shows, from the property owner that they have permission to be seeking these permits.
Yeah, but I don't think for our purposes we need to. we don't need to see that document that I can recall.
I do have it if you need
Yeah,
it, the lease.
one was
is with
submitted
me.
for the record just to show that's an act of good faith that they were negotiating a lease and that the applicant was coming forward.
Do you have a copy with you?
I have the lease. I did give Joe a copy.
Oh, you did? Okay. Oh, all right, okay.
I also have a copy of the floor plan if you need to see it. It's not real rooms, just really
Yep.
partitions.
Well, that was gonna be my next question, so if you, was that submitted to the city also?
Yes, it has.
Yeah, okay. Okay, anything else you want to add?
I think it should be it.
Okay, good. All right, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anyone here like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor, hearing none. That portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone here like to speak in opposition? Opposition. Hearing none, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Open it up to the board. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions. The petitioner just answered the two questions that you posed based on the planning department's comments. The only comment I would add is this, I think is the second tattoo parlor that's come before us since I've been on the board. I think we approved one over on Fletcher Street. And at the time, I thought all the members of the ZBA were going to get matching ZBA tattoos. And so maybe I'll follow up this time with the...
I'd recommend you get it with me if that's going to happen.
No further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And no comment from the chairman on that. Okay, thanks, Mike. Van?
I think it's always a good thing when a business wants to open up in Lowell. And this location, I think, fits in well. It's a big kind of business district, so I think it fits well for the city and the area. So I think, I think you do well, and I wish you the best of luck, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Van. Dennis?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just ask Tiago a couple questions, but I agree with Van that I think this is a great location for this kind of body art establishment. The square footage that you're looking to lease, how big an area is it?
How big?
The square footage of the lease, is that
I believe
1,000,
it's around 1,000 square feet. I have the lease here. It's
Okay.
quite a big size. I also have the idea of maybe in the near future, I've been speaking with other artists, painters from around Lowell, and I'm going to have a huge area that's going to be open. I'd like to display their art inside my studio.
As sort of a gallery kind of space?
Yeah.
Nice.
And have their name and their information, so if somebody comes into the tattoo shop and likes the painting, they could contact the artist directly. Just have it open
Terrific.
in art overall.
And you said you're in the corner,
Yes, I'm in the very corner of the building, so I'm basically one of only 2 units that have an entrance and an exit door as well. The other units don't have that privilege, so to make it, and I like the corner because I will not be in the way of the other businesses, because when you come get a tattoo, sometimes you have to stay at the tattoo shop for maybe 3 or 4 hours, and I would hate to be in the way of the other parking spots. I will have at least 4 spots right in front of my store, my studio.
okay. I'm just trying to think of which, so there's 2, at this address, there's 2 buildings. It's
Yes.
2 different numbers. Is it the green color building?
Yes,
think?
I have a
Because-
picture of the building if you'd like to look at it.
Is it as far back on the building as possible? Is that where you're mentioning is the corner, so it's the
Yeah,
rear? corner. Yep.
it's basically on your, let's say when you come in the plaza, on your left, it's where the building where I'm going to
Yep.
be. So my studio will be the last unit
one
on the
yep.
left.
Terrific.
So there's
Yeah.
still a lot of parking a little bit beyond that, let's say 3 or 4 spots beyond that.
Yeah, it looks like there's plenty of parking in there.
Yes.
So do you usually have patrons waiting as well as people?
Yeah,
Getting work?
there's usually, I would say, it's usually an appointment-based, business, but, sometimes people will come in a half hour early.
Okay.
So it's good to have enough parking so they're not in the way of any other traffic. There's a restaurant right next door to me, and I know people would come in and out. So being the last unit is, I believe, the best spot for something like this.
Well, it sounds like a great location, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you, Dennis. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I definitely agree with my colleagues. Anytime we can have a new business open up, it's always beneficial to the city. It seems you took a lot of things into consideration in your location, and so you seem to have a concern for your neighbors as well. The only question I do have, and I believe as it relates to number 2, through you, Mr. Chairman, to Joe, there are the proposed hours, we talked about the pickup of waste materials. My thought is, since it's a leased, the common trash will be placed through residential, and then once you get through the
Yes,
health department, you're gonna
there's
follow
a-
through. Is that, am I correct in reading that? They're looking at solid waste, because the medical waste and shops and all that will be dealt with through the health department?
Right,
Okay,
right, that's correct, Mr.
okay. I just wanted to clarify that. And one other question, what year did you graduate from Lowell High School?
I actually didn't graduate. I
Okay.
left.
And you seem young,
I went
so,
to, I am 30.
okay, so
Well,
good for you.
I went until 2003,
Okay.
but I moved to Italy, and I lived there for about 4 years. And then when I came back, I got my GED.
Good, good,
So
well,
I just wanted to experience a little bit.
well, just put.
Lived in England in that time as well, because I wanted to
Well,
travel.
you look younger than your age has been made, but I think it's a benefit to you that you're pursuing a dream and opening a business in the city, and I think that's a good thing for, in my opinion,
Thank
the
you.
younger generation.
Yeah.
I wish you the best
I've
of luck.
been doing 2 full times for the past basically 3 years.
You know,
So
best of luck
just so I
over
can
there.
save enough and have enough time on my New Hampshire license so I can transfer to Massachusetts.
You know, you have a well thought out plan, and it seems like you have good goals and good business plan. I wish you the best of luck over there in the Highlands.
Thank you.
And I'll see you over there with my colleague, Mike.
You're all invited.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I certainly share the same sentiments of my fellow board members. This is a very good thing, I believe, when a new business starts to open up in the city, and it looks like you have a very decent plan set forth, and I appreciate I even appreciate you laying out the floor plan as to breaking down like how things are going to be set up, which was very helpful, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so the only thing I'll mention, well, 2 things I'll mention, but the signage, Joe, if the city has a copy of the lease, does the signage get addressed within the lease? Available to you, or do you?
No, I don't think it does.
Okay.
But,
So do we need to condition, need to see what the signage will look like once it's, I know obviously if he gets approved tonight, he's got to go to the health department and go through their regulations, but as
I
far
guess
as the signage goes, is there anything we need to be concerned with?
So you could go one of 2 ways. You could either do an administrative review of the signage if you would
Yep.
like, or if you would like, you could just simply say that it needs to meet the city's sign regulations.
Yeah. Well,
But if you'd like to review the design, we could do an administrative review.
yeah, I'll open it to the board, but I would go for the administrative review, unless any other board members have any other way they want to go with it. Okay, the chairman gets his way, okay. Well, the other thing is, as far as approving the special permit, again, I think the board members expressed, the presentation you put on this evening, and I think if we look at the criteria for the special permit, to be very frank with you, I was wondering if somebody was going to show up, it was going to be in the opposition here tonight, either from the neighborhood or any of your business partners there, and since there's no opposition, I think that speaks volumes for your business. So that's one thing, but I believe the special permit to be addressed, I was on the Board of Health for 6 years, so I've been down this road before with Body Art, and it's a tough business,
definitely.
whether you've experienced a tough business or not. So I think you have a lot of challenges in front of you, but, I think the board is also supportive of your goals and dreams of opening up a small business, and I think the area is conducive for it. And I think the image of the body art has changed over the years, so hopefully you'll run a good business and a clean business, and not only us, but the health department, I know, would be really involved with you if things get out of hand, so.
I'm actually very close to them, so
Yep.
I can make a visit anytime.
Okay, so I'm in full support, I believe the board is. Any other comments? I believe we only have one condition, Dennis, regarding the signage. And could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2006-0080 for a special permit at, I'm sorry, wrong one. For ZB 2015-030 for a special permit at 1527 Middlesex Street to operate a body art establishment with the following condition, that the signage be provided for an administrative review.
Could I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approved with condition.
Mr. Paglia?
Approved with condition.
Mr. Peck?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Perrin?
Approve with conditions.
Okay, Ms. Campos, been approved. Wish you the
Thank
best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
guys have a good night.
Yep, have a good evening. All right, any other issues, comments? Joe, anything else besides, I know the next meeting's the, what was it, 14th?
The 14th, that's correct.
September. Anything else we need to be concerned with?
We have a few new petitions, but nothing that has been really on the board's radar for any time.
Okay. And Mr. Shanahan, thank you very much for attending this evening. I appreciated the input. And if there's no other matters, could I make a motion to adjourn?
Through Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
So moved.